Hello Justin, welcome to Fatter Future number
8. We are up to 8 already.
8?
I know.
Like Ocho?
It is.
Wow.
It's going to be amazing. We've got some good topics today. Never short on tech news in the fall, but we've got Nvidia Buying Arm. That's kind of a crazy experience that
That's going to be a good one.
We're going to need to be talking about. Subscription hardware is on there, especially with the evolution of the new Xbox All Access.
Okay,
Definitely
sure. Number 2, sounds good.
So, and then we have limited pre-order, kind of riffing off of that, this idea of scarcity amongst hardware. We've had a few major releases.
We're going to get into economics? I don't know, that's an advanced topic.
We're not going to get too deep in economics, otherwise we get yelled at.
Well, that's going to be tough. Okay, so what's our question on topic number 1? How do we state that as a fatter future?
So here's the really big thing, is that Nvidia is becoming a huge player in the graphics card market. And they've actually tried to work their way into other markets, other kind of chipsets before. They had for the shortest while the Tegra chip. They tried to get into mobile chipsets.
Right.
Not to much success. They kind of petered out there. They never really made much headway. But
they even made a phone at one point too.
They did.
Yeah.
But ARM is a huge player. ARM is kind of the other half of the puzzle for. And
I understand that ARM actually does some of Nvidia's like manufacturing or design work even.
From what I understand, it's the, I might be using the wrong term, but it's in the instruction set. So they're the instruction set that the other companies work off of. So it's kind of, it's the yin and the yang to the creation of like the Apple chips.
So is this a case where Nvidia is buying their supply chain?
They're almost more, they're buying theirs, but also everybody else's supply chain.
Oh.
So there's some really big questions there of contention because, for example, Apple and Nvidia have never really played nice. You can't buy an Apple product with an Nvidia graphics card in it.
But Apple does use ARM.
But Apple uses ARM.
Okay.
And they've used more ARM now than they ever have before. So
this is basically consolidation in the marketplace.
It could be. And now ARM has been bought before. They were bought by SoftBank recently. So
SoftBank's yeah, I was saying SoftBank's really, they're like a venture capital type firm.
But Nvidia's like raring to go. They've got movement. They're, this could be
well, I mean, personally tracking things in the market, I can tell you Nvidia's stock has just gone out of control. They've been riding a little bit of this tech wave that we've seen since the start of the year, and I believe some of the percentages are triple digit on their growth. So they've got the capital in terms of market, capital.
Right, and they've got the know-how to where to direct it. They have some idea. They are chip manufacturers in their own right. It's not like they're just going into a field blind and saying, please make us money. They're actually trying to move forward on some point. So. Okay,
very interesting. So we're basically saying fatter future chip consolidation in a marketplace.
I think.
I think it's a real concern. We're at a stage where these tech companies have so much market capital and they're so big that they could buy their supply chain, but it's this impact that their supply chain is used by other competitors. Mm-hmm. So are they essentially potentially eliminating competition, better controlling the market, but then how does the consumer win in the end?
And that's really the question, is where does Nvidia see themselves with all of this? Are they just trying to evolve and be more efficient, or are they trying to be the titan of the chip industry like Intel is?
Well, I mean, talking from the high level, I definitely think markets go through consolidation phases. It's very normal. I mean, that's how Infotect kind of started. We started as a byproduct of consolidation in IT services. Mm-hmm. Shameful plug maybe. But either way, I would say that, is this a pattern that is just a one-time, or is this something that will, in an age where we have giant tech companies that have valuations stronger than countries even, is this something that we should be scared of? And
I think that brings it to our fatter future. Is this something we're going to see more of, or is this something, a one-off, maybe Nvidia is just feeling a little feisty right now? So where are you going to land?
I'm going to say it's a fad just because I do think this is a market cycle. Mm-hmm. And I don't think it's going to say that, we're not going to see new innovation in terms of what's coming next. I would say this is something that is going to be right now because conditions allow it to happen. But I don't think it's the future that we end up with. Very few players in the chip marketplace. I mean, we already have few players, but you have TI, Qualcomm. You have a lot of small chip players that have held their own in the niches that they have. But The idea that tech companies can get even bigger and control the supply chain, it's got to be a fad. We can't have that be the future.
And see, that's where my little pessimism comes out a small bit. I do think that this is the future. I think that we are hitting this point, especially with this tech push recently. I mean, these companies have more money than ever.
Yeah.
And it's kind of ridiculous to the point where they have the momentum, the money, and the environment where they can start to squeeze out the little guys.
Well, I think we definitely gave people things to think about on that topic. They probably didn't even know about it. What do you got for number 2?
So 2, we're going a little lower stakes. We're not talking
Bring it down
about
a
the
notch?
future of electronics as we know it.
Uh-oh.
Oh no.
You're going to jump.
No.
He's down by your feet over
He's
there.
down. All right, we got to bring him back. He is our happiness moment.
It's tech support.
Tech support, yeah. All right, so moving on to section 2, category 2. I lost my train of thought there, but we're good. Hedgehog is on the table, we're good. So subscription hardware. So a little lower stakes, but this is definitely derived out of some of our conversations from this Xbox All Access. This idea that the hardware is almost a secondary component in the idea of this subscription service that a company wants to sell you. Yes, you're going to get an Xbox, you're going to get the best Xbox that you can possibly get at a decent price, but on top of that, you're also getting a catalog of games, hundreds of games, some of them AAA titles, and all of this is baked into 24 months. You pay $35 a month and you get everything that you need.
Okay, I'm going to back you up just for a second. So we've been talking to customers about cloud for over a decade. Today we're in an age where subscription models permeated not just business but consumers. Everybody's got a subscription, and we're used to getting whatever we want on some sort of a subscription, but it's usually an intangible, right? Video, music, you're starting to see meals even come, right? There's companies that are providing meals to you on a subscription basis.
But
I just saw a commercial last night for litter boxes on a subscription. I kid you not, I saw it.
Okay.
So now what you're saying is hardware on a subscription, but this isn't the same as a lease? It's different.
This is, you do own the device at the end of the 24 months, but the thing is that they're trying to make the hardware and the software, the hardware and the services so interconnected that you don't even think about the difference anymore.
So it's not like a layaway, it's not like, or a loan, but you're actually
Right.
getting software that changes over time, or is it the same set for the whole period of time?
The software, it continues to evolve too, and they've been very open that they're going to continue to add games very aggressively. The day before that they started the pre-orders, they announced that they purchased Bethesda, which is one of the biggest gaming companies out there. So they're not messing around, and they are very much trying to make this Game Pass primary and the hardware is secondary. And so where does that shift things that, okay, when you have, how does that work when your hardware is no longer a separate entity?
Right.
Because there's a whole question of dependence there too. Someone actually argue Apple took a different tack on this in the past week or so. They've recently had their announcements for the year with some new hardware with the watches and whatnot. But one of the big things that they announced was this Apple One. And this idea of like, here's your all-inclusive package, Apple Cloud, Apple Music, all of their services.
In one fee, right?
But one of the biggest things that they left out, and a lot of people were wondering if that was actually a smart play, was the phone. And again, it's bringing in this conversation of you are lowering your inclination to keep these things separately. And these companies are going to be able to keep bundling things tighter and tighter, where you can't really see where one product ends and one product begins.
Oh, interesting. So possibly Apple didn't do that because maybe they didn't want to compete with their cell phone providers and things like that. But that's kind of, I see the exact parallel you're talking about. So Microsoft is putting together the hardware, all the gaming software that you need, and you pay one fee for it, and you're good to go.
And you don't think about it. And then when your subscription is up, you start over and you just reinvent that wheel.
Okay, I see the validity there, and I know that from what I saw on this is definitely, I mean, Microsoft has had huge success with Office 365, and that's an evolving subscription. They continue to add value, and I can see why they want to try and do the same thing in the billion-dollar gaming industry that they compete in.
And it's alluring. Like, as a consumer, I'm excited.
It's a multi-billion-dollar game, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. It's awesome. Like, it's a good thing, but at the same point, you start to see this erosion of what do I own? Like, what is mine anymore, right?
You don't own anything.
Yeah.
No, I quit buying DVD movies a long time ago, so yeah.
You don't own anything, but now it's getting into like the physical stuff. Like you can have an Xbox in your house, but you can't put a sticker on it because you're going to invalidate your all access pass or something. Right. I mean, not to say that that's what they do, but...
So we're saying basically in terms of the consumer space, subscription hardware, fad or future?
Yeah, and I think it's the future. I think they're going to have the incentive there, and again, they've got the winds of opportunity right now. There's no better time to kind of push some of this.
I'm going to agree with you. I think it's future. I think our, comfort has really made it to that level where we're comfortable with subscriptions, and this is the next step with it, is to put it into the hardware and the software. So, all right, we're on the same page with that one.
It'll be interesting.
What's number 3 today?
Oh, we're going to keep it rolling with limited pre-orders.
Oh, this is our economics topic, isn't it?
So this is our economics topic.
Man.
Economics
I'm going to take another sip of coffee for this.
Supply. What is supply and demand? But just a little bit of backstory is that it's actually been, again, pretty crazy. In the past 2 weeks, we've had Nvidia's brand new RTX 3080 chips, GPUs come out, and actually be sold. We've had the PlayStation 5 pre-orders from Sony, and then we had the Xbox Series pre-orders yesterday.
Right.
And all of those have been really kind of dinged a lot in the media and by public perception because the stock abilities and the just the accessibility of pre-ordering or purchasing what you wanted to. Basically, someone else said it perfectly. It's never been more difficult to have that simple transaction of money for good. Right. And there was just this oddity where it's like, why?
So let's high level this, and I think we're going to need to make sure that they put the definition of scarcity on the screen for people watching this, right? Because this is what we're talking about. We're in an age where they're doing pre-orders months and sometimes even a year in advance. And the pre-order process is genius because they know what demand is, and they can scale manufacturing to meet demand. But what you're seeing is that they're taking pre-orders and they're shutting down pre-orders because they want to stop people from being able to get the new product. Does that even make sense?
And that's what's so perplexing is like, why would Microsoft be like, we're good. We've sold this many Xboxes.
We got 1 million pre-orders. We're going to stop.
Yeah. And why would you not want to be able to just quickly and to give that confidence to your customers that, hey, we sold out our initial amount, but if you want one, later down the road, once it gets released a few weeks later, and like Oculus, they were saying Oculus did it well. Like you can go purchase pre-order an Oculus right now. You're going to get it in 2.5 months, but you can pre-order it.
Okay.
And Microsoft, Sony, nothing there.
Wow. I mean, I really don't understand it. It doesn't make any sense to me. I would think, especially considering it in terms of the Xbox, Microsoft, they're behind Sony. The PlayStation is a stronger console in market share. And you would think they would want as many pre-orders, especially knowing Sony's releasing a console essentially the same time. And if Sony doesn't play that tactic, then they're not going to gain market share. And to say nothing of what we were just talking about our previous topic, this whole idea of the subscription with the hardware. They are pushing so hard on this Game Pass that it's almost perplexing as to why they would just stopgap that by saying, well, we only have so many Xboxes. Right, hamstring the pre-orders. Why wouldn't you just make it literally anyone who wants an Xbox can buy one because you're making this monster. I didn't mention that when we were talking about topic 2, but I did see that the subscription prices were up in the top paragraph or 2, and the actual console price was like 5 paragraphs down in the press announcement. So they definitely were kind of saying, don't talk about this, but talk about the subscription. They want it to happen. So it's kind of interesting, but it's also it's an indicator of that, like the last time that this happened, when both of these major companies went head to head on it, this same exact thing happened. There was this extreme scarcity for months at a time after the releases. So what's our fad or future proposition to this? Is it the concept of controlling pre-ordering? That pre-orders are going to be limited, that's a future trend? Or is this just a fad we're seeing in terms of Microsoft and whatever experiment they're up to? Or is it just is it the video game world that's maybe insular? So maybe it's just the fad of it being related more to the video game world than anything, and this scarcity or this pre-order scarcity is a occasional blend. Yeah, you can still get a new one on pre-order from eBay for $800, double the price, right? So somehow they didn't stop the scalpers with it. It's a steal. Yeah, I don't know what to say. All right, so fad or future to you?
So I think, unfortunately, I was all excited, but I think it's going to be the future. I think that they don't have a reason. I think it's more of the hype than anything. I think that they're trying to build up the talk of it. And there's no better talk than saying, oh man, this thing sold out in 30 minutes. I mean, that's just the best kind of press you can get. You're in demand at that point.
Okay, I'm going to take fad on this one, and I think I'm going to take fad because I think you're doing an economic maneuver that requires specific conditions to be successful, and I think this could really blow up in Microsoft's face if Sony, does a good job.
Up in Sony's face. So.
Yeah, and it only works in certain situations. So for an Nvidia, for instance, they're such a market leader in their space, they can get away with whatever they want. Prices are very high, control inventory, whatever they want to do. But for people that are in a competitive market space, controlling your pre-orders could be the death knell of your product.
Okay.
All right.
So we might be seeing that this might be playing out very quickly. As a bad
again,
idea.
Microsoft's taking a chance. Let's see what happens.
All right. Well, definitely some contention. I apparently was future on all of them, so I'm this bleak dystopian super chip manufacturer.
Mega tech corporations and subscriptions for your entire life. That's Justin's point of view.
Maybe I've just been prepping for Cyberpunk. But no, that was a very good.
Well, how do you like the new format? We got a different setup today. We're inside our conference room for today's show.
It's progress. We're still standing 6 feet apart. Don't you worry.
And we've got the hand sanitizer.
Hand sanitizer and the bonsai tree, which is it spreads protection area.
It's actually producing oxygen for us right now, so it's helping clean the air between us as we talk. So, all right. Well, thank you for watching. If you like this video, please click like and please subscribe. We enjoy doing these segments every month, and your support helps keep us motivated. Well, the coffee helps too. Thanks. See you next time.
Bye.